and welcome to Project Life Thursdays. This is a new feature that I recently started. I think that you've probably already seen at least one video, maybe two, of me talking about Project Life and how I do it and what my plans are and all of those things. I am working on January today, and I want to show you what I've done or what I'm doing. These videos will be a little bit, it's going to take me a little bit of time to kind of get into the groove of how to share this with you guys. So what I have here so far, let me just show you where I'm at, and then we'll dive in. So hopefully you've already seen at least an overview of my title page and what I've done. So I have here my page lifter that I just covered in paper, and I have the new season begins. I cut out 2023 on my Cricut, and then I used a heart die and then embossed on that with white embossing powder. And then, sorry, my cord's hanging there. Here is my title page, or the very start of my album. It says, "Here we go again." And then these are photos that I did in an app on my phone and then printed them out. And then I used heart dies and just backed the paper. I really like the way that came out. So then now we're gonna start January. So normally what I do is I do Project Life by the month. I used to do it by the week. I'm sure you've seen that video. But what I do now is by the month. And what I've already done is I've set up the rest of the year with these very basic pieces. So what I usually have is a design A and then a design A, and that's like my month, right? And then I pick some stories or some things that I want to focus on and share, and that goes in the middle of my month. So for January, I have the back page is a design A, the back of January is a design A, but the beginning of January is going to be a regular 12 by 12 because my title page is a traditional page. So the start of January is going to be in a 12 by 12. Now I do this a lot. It doesn't bother me to go from the different sizes or different types of page protectors. It's one of the things that I really love about Project Life is this ability to do lots of different things. I love the way it looks when things are layered in my album. So I could do a couple things. I could just do some things on the back of this 12 by 12. Like I could just add my cards on here and then, you know, do whatever it is that I'm going to do. I could also do a 12 by 12 photo. I like to do that too. If you've seen past Project Life albums, then you know that I have done just full 12 by 12 photos. For this month, I don't think I'm going to do a large photo. I think I'm actually going to add another piece of pattern paper and then start the my January pages. So I have my divider. These are the Clementine Project Life dividers. Becky Higgins used to sell these. She does not anymore. I cannot find these dividers anymore. I have exactly 3 sets left. So as they were starting to sell out or not be produced anymore, I bought like 12 packs of them, and I'm down to like my last couple packs. So I like having them in here. I like the dividers. It just is how I like to do things. It just acts as another piece in my album, another interactive piece. I usually don't do anything on top of these. I usually just leave them exactly how they are. The next thing I have are my calendars, and so I'm going to be using these a little bit different this year. Usually I just fill out information on the calendar that maybe I don't document, like if I have a dentist appointment or the hours my husband works as he's changed jobs and things are different now. That's what I usually do. I will still be doing that, but I'm going to be doing some stamping on these pages as well. I'm going to start, sorry, excuse me. I'm going to start using my Ali Edward stamps a little bit more. And one of the ways I'm going to do that is stamping on my calendar, and you're going to see that. I will do that. And then the back of this always acts as a place to hold memorabilia. So different things, you know, if I get things in the mail or a card or, you know, my daughter's in drama. So if she's in a play and we have one of her, you know, the little pamphlets that they get, like I'll slip that into here. So it acts as a place for me to save anything from the month that I want to save. And that always works really well. I usually back this with paper. I'm actually going to back it with this paper, and I may back all of my calendars with this paper this year. It's something that I'm thinking about. So I have that, and we're going to do that. And then this is the back of January. So one of the things that I'm going to show you is as I dive in to my photos here, what I do is the first thing I do is I always start with a photo marker. So this says January 2023. You can see that as I go through, there's my February. So I know that all of my photos from this photo marker February to this photo marker is January. And so I share those photo markers in my Life Simply Documented membership group. I do photo markers for all of the months, and then I do photo markers for week in the life, day in the life. I think I do one for Stories of Home, which is something we do in that group. And then if anybody needs one, like if you're going to a wedding and you know you're going to take a bunch of photos, I can do custom photo markers for anybody that's in my membership group. They just let me know what they need. I create them and then get them to them. And then you have the ability to mark your photos, and it's easier when you're going through trying to figure out. So I know that those are the photos I'm working with. The two things that I'm going to document in the month of January, aside from all of my everyday photos, are the sunsets. We have beautiful sunsets where we live, mostly in the month of January, and February is mostly when we see them. We see them at other times. None of these have filters on them, and they are all from like where we live. So I have a few of those. And then we had some really horrible weather in the month of January. This is at my son's school, and a tree came over and knocked down the power line. We had some flooding. Some really bad flooding. And so I want to document the weather and all of that. I took some screenshots of my weather app in the middle of doing all of that happening, some flooding. So that's going to be one of my larger stories for the month, is the weather and then the sunsets. And then there will probably just be some everyday photos. So those are the photos that I'm going to be working with, and you will see that. The theme that I'm going with this month is black and yellow. I want to use this paper that I used in my title page, and then I pulled out some cards that have some black and yellow on them. And you can see these right here. These were all from Ali Edwards. Right here. This is the paper. So the camera paper, I have this floral paper. I don't know if I'm going to use that or not. And then these are the items from Ali Edwards. I have some wood veneer pieces that just say January Stories, Celebrate Today, Fresh Start. And then I went to my Project Life card organization, and I pulled out my midnight kit, and I pulled out, I'm going to do something specific with these yellow cards here that have this box. And then I pulled out a bunch of, these are not the midnight kits. These were some I had in my stash that I might use, but then these are all from the Midnight kit. And so there's some black and yellow and then a little bit of gray. So I want to use these in there. So I have that. And then I also printed out my January. These are 2 cards that I have. They are not 3x4 or 4x6, and I may use them. I like that they match my calendar. It is a product that is in my Life Simply Documented membership group. And I have these because I want to try to be able to use them. The other products that I have out are just some stamps. I wanted a stamp that said today, so I found that. A couple dies that I have here, and then a couple stamps. I don't know that I will use all of that, but it's what I have out. This was a card in Allie Edwards' January kit. I don't like that it's blue and red and green. But the stamp set has that same image, and so I want to do a card like this, but I want it to just to be plain. I don't want it to have any of that color. I want it to be the color that I want it to be, so I will probably use that to stamp and make a card like that. So that is what I'm working with, and then we're going to go ahead and get started with what I will be doing for January. So let's get going and get January put together. All right, so here I am just trimming down that paper. I really am considering doing that camera paper for each of the backs of my calendars throughout the album. I really want some bold pops of black in my album this year. I tend to do this. I have a bit of a theme for each year, or just something that I'm really loving that I pull in each month. It sort of ties the album together for me. There's been in the past where I've done circle calendars, or I've used hexagons in every single month. There's been times I've done like black cards, like Project Life cards, where I've put a lot of them into each month, particularly when I was doing Project Life by the week. It was easier to do that. But I'm thinking about doing that this year for sure with my album. So here is what is left of that paper that I used for my title page, and I'm going to trim that down and use it. I really loved that paper, and I only had 1 sheet of it. It was in a Maggie Holmes paper pack, and Maggie Holmes is not my style. I actually don't even know how I ended up with the paper pad. And so I only had 1 piece of it, and so I really wanted to be able to use it. And originally I thought I would use that mint color. I would just do it on the back of that one layout. I sometimes do that. It's a great way to conserve your paper or your cardstock if you're looking to do that. I end up changing my mind and not using that mint color. That is mint macaroon from Stampin' Up. I end up using a piece of basic black. So here I am. I'm going to start stamping on this calendar, and spoiler alert, I re-stamp it later on in the video, but I'm just going to start pulling out my stamps, and I'm going to start stamping in some random places. I have an idea of where I need to write things on the calendar so I can put the stamps in other places. And then here in a second, I'm going to speed up this process, and just so you can see the stamping of the calendar, but then I will re-stamp it and talk about that in just a few minutes.
that part is done, I'm going to start working on a couple of the other elements of my layout. For me, when I am doing project life by the month, what I really like to do is have some type of a theme or some type of a color scheme that I'm sticking to. So for the month of January, it is the black and the yellow. I get Ali Edwards stories by the month, and so a lot of times I will use those. They're usually themed like for whatever month, like, you know, if it's spring or summer, they're like themed for that part of the year, so that works really nice. I really would like to use my stamps a lot more. I just don't use them enough. And so as I'm putting these together, you're going to see that I have my stamps out and I am trying to figure out how I want to use those. This chipboard piece here is from Ali Edwards along with that 3x4 card. I have a lot of supplies on hand. I have been collecting scrapbooking, memory keeping items for years, for 20 plus years. So I have a lot of things on hand that I can pull from, which makes it really nice. I wanted to find originally I thought that Today stamp was going to fit into that little yellow box. So I wanted to stamp Today. It didn't fit, so I kind of have to change things around. I will also back those white cards with the yellow box. I will back them with black cardstock because those corners are rounded on that kit. And I don't do rounded corners anymore. I do all square corners. So you will see that in just a minute as well.
So let me show you where I'm at. I've filmed a little bit and then I have done some things off camera. So the first thing I think that I'm going to do is put a piece of black cardstock here and not pull in the mint color on here. And then I have the January stories. This is from Ali Edwards. I cut one of the hearts that I'm using. These are just from Lawn Fawn. It's a set of 3 stitched hearts, and they're just in this fun shape. So I added one to here, and I think that I'm going to do something like this, and then have some photos here. I stamped on my calendar, and I don't love it. This is new for me. I've never done stamping on the calendar before. I usually just like write out my things and then that's it. You've probably seen that in a past video. I like it. I like the idea of it. I just don't love the way that this one came out. I was using one of my new pen that I got that I use in my notebook, and this is photo paper, and my handwriting wasn't the greatest. It stamped beautifully, but the handwriting wasn't the greatest. I don't know. I'm in a place where I'm like wondering if I should reprint this and like redo it. But then I'm also at a place where I'm like, this is something that I'm learning I've never done before. And so it's going to take me a little while to find my groove with it. I also added 3 hearts. I was feeling like I needed something here. I really do like this part. And it's not terrible. It just, I don't know, it just feels a little bit messy. A little bit more messy than I originally wanted it to. So I don't know about that. I backed it with yellow paper, and you can see this is crushed curry back here, and it matches this really, really well. Again, I've really never ever had a problem with my Stampin' Up! Cardstock or inks matching other product that I have. So that's always really nice. So on the back of that, I just have the camera paper, and then I'll have any memorabilia in here. And then this is a Becky Higgins Page Protector Design F, and it has a 4x6 here, and then it has all these 3x4s. The Midnight Kit is a really, really old kit, and the corners are rounded on the pockets, and I don't do rounded corners anymore, and it does bother me for there to be rounded corners and not rounded corners. So it's either the whole layout has to have square corners or the whole layout has to have round corners, or it just bothers me. So what I did is I just trimmed these down and I backed them with black cardstock so that everything would be square. And then in the square, I want to stamp today. That's what I want to stamp, but I cannot find a stamp. The stamp that I found, this one, the today does not fit in this box. So I need to go back and look through my stamps to see if I can find a smaller today stamp. And then that's what I will stamp in there. And then it's going to be a combination of journaling and photos is what I'm going to put in there. I did this card here, which matches this card here. I did the circle and I cut that off. I don't know if that was on camera, so it's like a half circle right there in the middle. And then I think that I'm gonna just do another one right here, and that will be fine. So I don't have these in the pocket yet because I want to do the stamping. I don't want to keep taking the things in and out. And then I have the back of this, which I'm thinking I will put this in here, like so. And then what I'm thinking is in here will be the photos of all of the weather things that happened. So I have some 3x4 photos that I did of Doppler and like the storm moving through, and then I have a bunch of photos from all around town and all the trees that came down and the road closures. And I'm thinking this part here will be my weather page, and then over here is just going to be our everyday photos. So I was thinking I would do January high fives here. I think that will work really nice. And then I don't have any other like yellow. I'm gonna have to grab a piece of cardstock because I want to do some yellow in here to have. I have this January moments, like January moments. I was thinking maybe that could go there. Again, I'll have to trim these, so that I actually might just use these in the pockets like so with some other filler cards. But I'll have to trim them down. Maybe I'll back them with yellow like I did these. So it'll be the black polka dots with a yellow black background. And then our everyday photos. I'll do some journaling on here. I will probably type it out and put it on here, and I will show that when I get to that point. And then that will probably be January. I don't have a lot of photos for January. I've kind of been in a really bad habit of not taking photos. I would really like to change that this year. So that's going to be one of my focuses this year, is to just get back to like taking more photos and remembering to pull the camera out and do that. And so that's where I am for January. There'll probably be another clip once I get my photos. I have to order them. And I am going to try to remember to put a clip in here of me editing my photos and showing you how I gather all of those. I print at the end of the month or the beginning of the next month, where I'm filming at the beginning of February. So I am getting ready to get all of my photos sent off to be printed. I print the majority of them. I send them out to get them printed, and then if I need to, I have the ability to print from home, but I don't like doing that because it's just so expensive. So the next clip will be me probably pulling the photos in and showing you that, and then we'll wrap up January.
Now here is where I start to pull in my photos. I get my photos printed at Walmart. I actually have a Walmart that prints really good photos. Not all places are equal. You know, I used to get them printed at Walgreens, but they started, like, they were bending. Like, I would get them and they would all be bent and like bowing in the middle, and I hated that. So I upload through snapfish.com, and then I print them at Walmart. I print my photos in a matte finish, and so that's just my preference, and the local Walmart actually prints them matte, so that's nice. So I'm just going to filter in all of my photos. I'm using that black card with the white polka dots. It was a 4x6 card that I cut in half, and then I was able to use that. And then I'm just figuring out which photos I want to go where. I don't know, I'm kind of in a funk with taking photos right now. I just have not been taking as many. In fact, when I went through my January photos to like get them printed, I really could not believe that I didn't have that many photos to really print. So I just need to get back in the habit of doing it. I don't know. I go through that sometimes where I'm not taking as many photos or I'm not thinking about it. It's easier when there's more things that we're doing outside. It's, winter right now. It's been cold. We've just been inside. And so there's just not been a lot of opportunity. I mean, there's always opportunity to take photos, but I guess I just haven't really pulled out my camera. The other thing is our house is really small and the lighting in the wintertime is really terrible. And so I tend to shy away from taking photos more in these heavier winter months. I don't know if that happens to anybody else. So I backed those cards with black cardstock. And my idea is I had a couple photos that were printed that I used the collage feature in the Project Life app. And I had those done on a 4x6 photo, but there's 4 photos. And my idea was I would layer them onto these cards. The other thing that you will see at the end, towards the end of this video, is I still have not journaled my January pages. In fact, I had to snap some photos to add to the end of this video because I, for whatever reason, totally forgot that when I was editing this, I realized at the very end of the video, it just stops and then there's nothing and nothing's it's not quite finished. And I just have not journaled yet. It is the end of February and I haven't journaled yet. It's the last thing I really need to do and want to do. And so I will get to that. It just, as you can tell, it just, things happen and it's hard to get to. I have other projects that need to get done. So I decide to re-stamp this calendar. After all of that, I decide to go ahead and re-stamp it. I pulled out a couple other stamp sets. I felt like I needed a little bit more of a variety. So some of the stuff is the same. You will see there's a couple of the spots that I do the exact same thing. I have that other calendar sitting there. So it's almost like a guide. But I will do a couple things different. I also will use a different pen on the calendar. And you will see in a few minutes, I start testing some of the pens that I have. Now, some of my favorite markers are Sharpie markers. I have those in the fine tip and the regular tip. And then I also have the Bic markers, which are alcohol-based markers as well. And here you can see I have a Sharpie and I have a couple different, I have that yellow one is the regular tip and then that dark gray one is the fine tip. And so you will see that I will just use a couple of those. And I also practice on that first calendar I did. I practice a couple with a couple of the pens just to see what is going to write well. This that I printed this calendar on is Epson photo paper in matte. And I will leave a link below for the supplies that I use, or it will be on my website. That is what I print most of my stuff out that goes into my Project Life album is on that the Epson matte photo paper. But it is definitely a different kind of surface to write on. So I definitely struggled a little bit finding a pen that would work well for the writing. But I love this idea of stamping on the calendar. I've done a calendar in my Project Life album. Since as long as I've been doing a family album, I've done a calendar. And it is fun to look back on it and see different things that you just, I don't document when I have a dentist appointment. I don't take photos and make a layout of it, or, I don't always take photos of, different things that we do. And so it's this nice way to have this journaling. It does work as journaling and you can see, some of the different things that you're doing. And I love the idea of stamping on the calendar and being able to use my stamps more. You can see I have a whole pile of them out, and it just is one of my goals this year to stamp more in my memory keeping. I'm really moving away from doing cards and doing that kind of thing. It's not my favorite thing to do, to make cards. I can do it, and there's times that I enjoy it, but this is what I am passionate about. I love memory keeping. It is not just something that I do. It's really just like I live it and breathe it, and I think about it all of the time, and I see moments a lot of times, like I see moments like through the lens of a camera. I'm always thinking like, how can I document this moment? How can I preserve this moment? How can I remember this, or different things like that. And so I want to be able to stamp more in my memory keeping, and it's going to take a little bit of practice for me to do that since I'm not used to doing it. So I loved having all of these stamps out and stamping on this, and you will definitely see that next month in my spreads as well.
All right, I have a little clip here to show you. I have some prints that I did through the Project Life app. That is how I do my enlargements, particularly my 12 by 12 enlargements and my 6 by 8 enlargements. It probably is cheaper in the long run to purchase a 12 by 12 printer and just be able to do that at home. It's just, this is a convenient way for me to do it. I don't do very many extra large photos. That might change in the future, but for now I just use the app and it's convenient. I don't mind paying for them, and I don't mind paying the shipping for it. So I'm gonna just show you slipping these in and show you where my album is. I re-stamped my calendar and redid that. I don't know if that's a clip. I might have filmed that. But what I have here is I have a 6 by 8. Let me find where all of this is. Okay, so here's where the 6 by 8 is. And I want this to face this way and this to face this way. And then this is a tree that fell over the road, and my husband snapped this on his way to work. And then this is about the really severe storms we had and the rain that we had in January. And I have some photos to go there. I actually, for the very first time, got 4x6s printed through the app because I had just missed some photos when I got them printed at my, like how I print them locally. I missed a couple, so I just added them to my order because I was ordering photos. So then right here is where I have where these are gonna go. I printed these with a white border. So they have the white border. I don't always do that, but this time I wanted to do that. And the way that I want these to face is this way.
So this is about where I realized that the video ended and I didn't have any other footage. So I have some photos here to share with you. This is the very first page of January. You see January stories there. I took a screenshot of the girls' progress reports that I receive every week. I took a screenshot of that and I printed those out and put them there. And then on that next side, you see the calendar, how it ended up turning out, which I like the way it turned out. I'm glad I went ahead and re-stamped that. I am a really big fan of taking screenshots and then adding that information to our albums. So you can see here a little bit closer that is what that is. I just think it adds a piece of our story that is sometimes it's harder to take a photo of something. So the next piece here is the back of the calendar, which I will slip all my memorabilia pieces in. And then I have a 6x8 page protector. And on one side is a picture of a sunset. And then on this other side is a picture of the road when my husband, on his way to work, during one of the big storms, that tree was fallen over the road and everybody was driving under it, which I didn't think was all that safe. He seemed to think it was fine. So then the next page is the page behind all of the 3x4 photos. And then on the right side of that is a really large 12x12 photo. This is just out driving in our county. I was on my way home and snapped the photo, and then I enlarged it. There's no filters on it. It just, that was the day. And then luckily there were no cars right there. So it is this really beautiful photo. I still want to do something with that photo, maybe at the beginning of my February pages for Project Life Thursday. When I share February, you will see what I end up doing with that photo. And then on the very back of that is another photo, and that is of a sunset. And I will do something on that photo as well. I knew I would have a space if I did a 12x12 photo, so I just went ahead and did two. I print my 12x12 photos through the Project Life app currently. Every month I do the photos I want to do, and then I just place an order with that through the Project Life app. And then the very next side is the very last part of January. So then on the next side of that will be February. So I hope that you've enjoyed this. I'm sorry I didn't have the very, the finishing touches of January. I will definitely share those in a future video. I hope that you are enjoying Project Life Thursdays. I certainly love sharing this part of my memory keeping in a more personal way, and doing process videos like this. Thank you so much for all of your feedback and kindness as I just figure out how to settle into filming like this and sharing with you. There will be more photos on my website. All of the products I talked about are linked on my website if they are not in the YouTube description below. And I would really love it if you would consider joining our Life Simply Documented community. It is $14.99 a month, and it is a space where I share 2 projects a week, and I share a more in-depth look at my projects, at my albums, at my process.
So much for watching my video.
And then there is also a
Here
workshop
on the screen are 2
that
other
we do
videos
in
that you can
that
check out.
group
I
every
would love
month.
it if you
So
would
if
subscribe
you
to my channel,
would like
hit
to
that bell
see
so
2
you're
other
notified
videos,
when
they are
I
here on the screen
post
of
a
projects
video.
that
I
I've done,
post
and I
2
will
to
be
3
back
times a week. So I
soon
will
with
catch you
another
in my
video. I
next
hope you
video.
all have a wonderful day.